What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today we're going over BBCan11, episode number 27. This was the third to last episode. We have two more left. We have tomorrow's episode, and then we have the finale on Thursday. Speaking of, we will be having Ori Palooza. It's not just finale day, it's also my birthday. So we're going to be doing a 12-hour stream starting around 4 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and Kick. And then once the finale starts, we're going to be doing a watch party on Kick exclusively because we can actually watch the full episode there. So make sure you come and check us out on that. Links are in the description down below, pinned comment down there as well. You can find the links that you can go follow that. And hang out with us to watch the finale and for the whole thing. It's going to be quite a fun time. We'll be doing some games. I also have this thing. It's Hot One Truth or Dabs. If anybody's ever seen Hot Ones here on YouTube, it's like a celebrity interview show where they eat spicy wings. And then I have the hottest one from that lineup. And then I have to answer questions that I may not want to answer or take a spoonful of hot sauce. So it's going to be a good time. Make sure you come hang out with us on that. But let's jump into the episode. For the most part, this was kind of a waste of time episode. It was mainly taken up by the BBCan Awards, which is just kind of a recap of the season. So really just kind of pointless. But we did get to see a few things that were interesting, like the end of the HoH competition, where we already knew that Ty won HoH from the dailies, which the dailies are finished now for the season. But we knew that Ty won the HoH from the daily, but we got to see that finish out here, and he won it by a good margin as well. Daniel and Claudia didn't even really come close with their scores. He was a full 2 points ahead of them when he finally got that win. So he secures his spot in the final three. And that was kind of the thing that we didn't know. We knew that Ty was going to be good at competitions, but did he know his days? Was he going to be able to know when things happened and be able to win those competitions later in the game? Turns out he did. And maybe something that helped him a lot was that everyone was so open with studying the days in the house. They would study with people they weren't even working with. And they would just like quiz each other randomly as they're like cooking food in the kitchen. And it was just shocking to see. I've never seen that on any other season. Yeah, you might study with people you're working with, right? Like your closest ally, you might quiz each other on different days. But to just be like randomly in the kitchen, like, oh, what day did that veto happen on? Oh, it was day 32. And they would just openly answer like that was wild to me. So Ty actually probably got a little bit of help from that as well. But he's just a force to be reckoned with here. He's going to win the first part of the HoH competition for finale. Whether he can win that final part, though, that's going to be the question, because I just don't see anyone being able to take him down at this point. But he ends up talking about how it's 2v2. It's him and Claudia versus Daniel and Anika. He knows that the nominations don't really matter, so he's not really sweating that at all, and it all comes down to the veto. The rest of the house, though, they just can't believe that he beat them in that. Like, he's just good at everything. This was probably Daniel's competition to win, but he fell short. And later, he actually has a conversation with Claudia where they were talking about, it's like, is he just going to win everything? Like, he has to lose eventually, right? But it doesn't seem like he's going to lose anytime soon. Nika talks about how she has to work her magic on Ty to keep, herself and Daniel safe. This is just an example of one, Anika not knowing the game, because again, it doesn't matter what Ty does with the nominations. It all comes down to veto. So working her magic wouldn't be helpful at all. But she also doesn't have any magic. Is this the same magic she used when she didn't put him on the block and he won veto and still used it even though she didn't want him to and was crying and begging him not to do it so she didn't have to put Daniel on the block? Is that the magic we're talking about here, Anika? If Anika wins. If Anika wins, it's such a bust of a season. I feel like I can accept Ty winning. I can even accept Daniel winning, who I don't think he had the best game, but he played, he was doing his thing. I can even accept Claudia winning as well, even though she had some really big mistakes in the game. But Anika winning? Ooh, that is the worst timeline. That is the worst timeline to live in if she ends up winning the game. We did see Daniel kind of talking alone about his resume and like what he thinks he did to win. Speaking of who should win, talks about how he was doing a very social game and he did win, I think 2 competitions. So he's got a little bit of a resume to go for him, but otherwise it's not much. Then eventually we get to the Wendy segment, which it ended up being Rachel Reilly from BB 13 and 14. What's it, 13 and 14? No, 12 and 13, right? 12 and 13? I think it was 12 and 13. Was it 12 and 13? 12 and 13. Let me know that in the comments. It might have been, no, because 10 was Dan, 11 was Jesse coming back again, and that had Jeff and Jordan. 12 and 13, because 12 was Brigade, 13 was the pairs, 12 and 13. So it was Rachel from BB 12 and 13, and she met with Ty first in the Wendy's window, and she talked about how she married her showmance. And Ty just awkwardly is like, oh, yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. No chance. This is the most toxic relationship that I think we've ever seen on BB. BBCan, BBUS, doesn't matter. This is the worst one I've ever seen. There's not a chance in the world that they make it far. It was kind of cool, though, that he kind of fakes them out, goes upstairs to get them all, being like, oh, there's too much food for me to get, so, like, come down and help, and they all get to meet her, even though Daniel was, like, the only one who actually knew who she was. But after she leaves and all that, and they eat their food, they're all kind of hanging out upstairs on that, kind of landing. Daniel's doing some laps, and he's just trying to basically justify his game to everyone, being like, oh, yeah, I played like a social game. And Ty's like, well, Zach and Kuzi played a social game. He's like, well, they played more of a strategic game where they were like trying to make moves here and there, where I was playing the social game like as it actually is. And he was trying to justify like why he's not just a floater, because he was saying how Rachel would just like roast him. And can we talk about this real quick? How I know I've mentioned it before on this channel. Floater has been just watered down and butchered to what it actually means. Just like with a backdoor, how a backdoor isn't always a backdoor when somebody just gets put as a replacement nom. That doesn't mean they were backdoored. But floater isn't necessarily a bad term. Floating actually is a legitimate strategy where you're able to go through the house, work with all the different groups, not commit to either one, and use the information that you're able to gather to make your way to the end and win. A great example of a floater who won was Andy on BB15. He did it kind of perfectly, where he was working with different groups, but he would take that information and play them against each other, and he's a great example of what a real floater is and how it's a legitimate strategy. But funny enough, it was Rachel who really kind of made floating like a negative term. The idea that like, oh, if you're a floater, like that's a bad thing. It's like, I guess, yeah, if you're in a large alliance going against another alliance, yeah, the floaters are kind of bad. But the bigger threat is the alliance that you're facing, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that the floaters are a bad thing. What really is a bad thing, and that what us fans should hate, are coasters. Coasters are people who really, it's got kind of 2 ways you could think about it. Just kind of coasting through the game, just not doing anything. They're not making moves. They're not involved in any of the decisions. They're not even working the social game very well. They're just there, right? They're like a coaster on a table. They're just there to put your drink on and make sure that a ring doesn't appear on your wooden table. Like, that is what we should not like. Floaters, I'm okay with floaters. Coasters, get out of here. But after that, we ended up getting the BBCan Awards, which is just kind of pointless. They did have like a prom theme to it, but it's rough watching that because it doesn't matter, and it's just kind of a recap of the season. and they're kind of like fake reactions to the things that happened. But after that, we did get another kind of interesting little thing. We had a little spat between Ty and Claudia about whether or not they were actually working together or not, and when they were working together, and how close they were aligned. Daniel was there awkwardly. Anika walks in, and she's like, "Oh, hey guys." And later on, Daniel's like, "You didn't even know what you walked in on." But then eventually we do get to the nominations, and again, they don't matter. Daniel does get nominated, as well as Claudia. We weren't 100% sure who the initial nominees were, since we did find out from the Daily who won veto already. But we weren't 100% sure who the initial nominees were, but they were Daniel and Claudia who are up on the block. But again, doesn't matter, because whoever wins veto is the one who has the final say on everything. If Ty wins veto, he can change the nominees, pull Claudia off, give her that sole vote. He can pull Daniel off and give him that sole vote. If Daniel wins, he then pulls himself off and gets to choose between Anika and Claudia. Same with Claudia, she would get to choose. And right now, Anika would be the one to have that sole vote if everything stayed the same. But yeah, it doesn't really matter who was nominated. All comes down to veto, which we should see the veto and eviction on tomorrow's episode. And then Thursday will be that finale. What do you guys think of everything that's going on? Are you liking the way this season's finishing out? I gotta be honest, it's been a little bit lackluster. It's probably one of my least favorite Final Four scenarios that we've had in Big Brother. It just doesn't seem like there's too much excitement or different things that this could go. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, remember, for Thursday is the big finale night. We will be watching live on Kick and doing a big 12-hour stream on Kick and Twitch for the birthday celebration as well. So make sure you check out the links in the description down below and a pinned comment down there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. We will have a recap for tomorrow's episode, and then Thursday we will be live starting at 4 p.m. So make sure you come check us out. Click those links down there. Go follow. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.